Editing Bente here. Just realized when I started editing that this is episode 96, not 95, because episode 95 I recorded without the sign up behind me, and I looked at the sign and it said 94, so I just thought, okay, so this is 95. It's 96. So try to ignore the sign behind me that says 95. So, welcome to episode 96 of the Epilogue Lady podcast.
Welcome to episode 95 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook and Etsy as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. On Ravelry, there's also a group for this podcast where you can participate in make-alongs and the occasional giveaway. I also have a Ko-fi page where you can contribute to the podcast either by making a one-time payment or subscribing by a monthly basis. I'm thinking about doing tiers on Ko-fi. I just haven't figured out the reward system yet. And as you can tell, practically no makeup and no knitwear. The no knitwear thing is because spring has arrived and it's really hot in here, and I hope you can't hear the air conditioning. But I put on some mascara for you and I've actually put on a bra. So I've cleaned up a bit. Things are a bit crazy around here. Some good crazy, some bad crazy. I'll come back to that during the live stuff at the end. Hopefully, if I don't forget. I won't forget, I think. Just a reminder, the tea time make-along is running on Ravelry. And you can put in your entries up until the end of May, because June 1st the Arctic Summer of Socks starts. And the rules are simple. It has to be a short-sleeved or sleeveless garment, any craft, and the prices, I haven't quite decided on prices yet. I just know that the grand price is 2 skeins of Arctic Crafts in fine merino fingering. That's all I know at the moment. I think I have more prices ready, but I haven't decided what to save for the Arctic Summer of Socks and what to put up for prices for the tea time make-along. But usually my prices are a surprise anyway, so I'm going to have 3 prices for the thread on Ravelry and a pattern price for the first comment I pick. So that's the tea time make-along. I'm working on one short-sleeved sweater as it is. I'll show you in whips. And I have plans for another. As I said, but things have been a bit crazy. My knitting mojo hasn't been all that because of personal stuff, but I'm getting back into it now. I even signed up for a test knit. I'll also talk a bit more about that. So that's kind of the introduction for this episode. So we'll start by looking at my FOs. And it's been a month, but I've only finished one sweater. I know. But I've shown you this as a whip. And I love this thing. I've worn it instead of a jacket. I can still wear it instead of a jacket, but not if I'm going to town and I'm going in and out of shops. I can't use it anymore because it gets too warm. But I really love it, and it's knit with Rauma's new base, the Fivel. If you know about Rauma's Vams, this is sort of in between finull and worsted. It's a worsted. And it's so soft, and even though it's 100% wool, Norwegian wool, it's not scratchy, not on me anyway. I can wear this over a t-shirt, no problem, because I don't think it's scratchy. So maybe that's my skin. Some people feel that everything scratches unless it's superwash merino, but Fivel, really nice yarn. Hopefully you can get it abroad. I know there are several international web stores that sell Røma garn. I said Røma garn. Røma yarn. So that's the... maybe I should tell you what this is. It's the Loon Pullover by Whitney Hayward. Had to look at my notes there. So that's one FO. And then I have 2 finished pairs of socks. They're both stone knits. For those who follow me on Instagram or know me, you know that I'm on a stone knits kick. I sort of fell in love. I started with the herding cats and I loved it so much. And I have 2 pairs of finished socks. I don't think you've seen these at all. These are the Alice's Easter Bunny socks. This pattern got gifted. I got this pattern gifted by Sue Crafty Knitter 7, my Canadian bestie. And the yarns are undyed Corriedale, not superwash Corriedale, from my store. This is a cheap commercial sock yarn. I can't remember the name at the top of my head. And the bunnies are in a hand-dyed scrap that I haven't got a bow band for, so I have no idea. I think it's Punk Rock Unicorn, but I can't be 100% sure. But I think it's Laundry Day from Punk Rock Unicorn, but I'm not sure. So that's those, and these I've shown you as a whip. And these are also stone knits, and it's the Sassy Cap socks. And the main color is Plommetre from Garnbutikken Fortuna. The contrasting color is Sweet Pea from Nora George, I think. And the black is just Drops Fabel. And as you can tell, I use duplicate stitching for the eyes, and that's just something I cut from a sweater I'm knitting a sweater for Sue. I'm showing you the whip in a minute. And the colorway is Fern, and it's an Arctic Crafts yarn. And I was going to have another pair of socks finished for you. I bought the book, 25 Charming Colorwork Socks, I think it's called. I should have brought that here to show you the book. But it's on Ravelry, so you can just look up stone knits or shallot stone on Ravelry and you'll find the book. And I was going to knit the tiptoe through the tulips, the pattern from the cover. And this is one of them. And the flowers is Spectacular from my yarns. The pink is a cheap commercial sock yarn, as is the light green. But these are way too big for me. They sort of slide around on my feet. And because I've cut the yarn as I've knit the different colors, there's no point in frogging this and using the yarn again. So I'm going to knit a pair of the tiptoe through the tulip socks, but I'm going to knit the smallest size and much tighter gauge. I knit these on 2.25 millimeters for the parts where there's no pattern, and I knit them on a 2.5 for the pattern, but my gauge isn't that much different when I knit stranded. So I'm going to knit these again, and I'm going to use 2.25 needles for the whole thing. That's what I'm doing with the pair I'm knitting now. Those were my FOs, by the way. The pair I'm knitting now It's in this bag from Nora George, or it's not Nora George, a Nora George bag. It's Mary Celeste Stitcher on Etsy. But it was part of my mystery grab bag that I got from her. This pair of socks I've been knitting on 2.25 for the whole thing. So I did the same for the Easter Bunny socks and the Sassy Cat socks. The thing is, the Tiptoe Through the Tulips were patterned all the way, and she tells you to change your needle size and increase a few stitches when you're knitting the pattern. And if I do both, they're too big. So on this, I've only increased the number of stitches she tells you in the pattern when I'm knitting the pattern, and then go back down to a less number of stitches. And stone knits is the test knit I was talking to you about. I can't tell you anymore, but I'm doing a test knit for stone knits. And I'll be able to show you those when the pattern is released. I'm getting the pattern today and I'm really excited. I have picked out the yarn and everything. So these are the Coffee Break socks by Stone Knits. The main color is from a balled up skein of hand dyed that I had no label for. It's one of the first skeins of hand dyed I bought from a German company, and I bought it because their prices were reasonable. The coffee cups, the contrast color is my Brickyard. It's actually a gold sport for the pattern. I took a chance and used sport weight for the pattern, and it works. You can feel that the sock is a bit more chunky where I've knitted the pattern, but since it's only on the leg and the foot, I was supposed to use the contrast color for the heel as well, but I didn't have a lot of the Brickyard, so I couldn't risk it. So that's why my heel is the main color and not the contrast color. So that's the Coffee Break socks. These will be put away to hibernate a bit while I'm doing the test knit. I always have a pair of socks on the needles. I was working on the Salty Air tea for Sue. I'll show you that. I'm on the body of that, and I have forgotten to put on my needle stoppers, so I have to be a bit careful when I show it to you so I don't lose any stitches. But this is what it looks like so far. I'm on the body. I'm on the boring part. And she wants it long as well. So I'm going to need 3 skeins for this. And thankfully, I dyed up 3 skeins just to make sure. And I need all 3 skeins. The colorway is Fern. It's an Arctic Crafts yarn. And it's not in the shop. I did this colorway for Sue. But I liked it so much, so I decided I'm going to put it in the shop. But I have no immediate plans to do so. But if you want a sweater quantity in Fern, you can order that in the shop. But it's going to end up in the shop at some point. Speaking of shop, I did a sale over Easter and I actually had a few sales. So now it's going to be fun to start dyeing again next week, because I actually have room for new yarn in my storage space, which isn't big in the first place. So that's going to be fun. And 2 of those orders were actually for Japan. And that's so cool, because I've never sold, I've sold yarn to a woman in Malaysia twice, the same lady. And then I got an order from Japan all of a sudden during my Easter sale. And a couple of days later, I got another order from Japan. So hopefully the mail works in Japan, from Norway to Japan. The good thing about me sending stuff abroad is that when I sent mail from Norway abroad, there's 2 tiers of pricing. There's Europe and the rest of the world. So I don't pay any more to send stuff to Japan or Malaysia for that matter, or Australia, than I do to the US and Canada. or I think Israel is also a country I sell yarn to, and it's also classified as the rest of the world. So that's why I have no restrictions on my Etsy page, in my Etsy shop. I have no restrictions when it comes to countries I don't send to. There's a few countries, I think there's 5 or 6 countries in the world I'm not able to send anything to. But that's sort of if there's unrest or they can't guarantee that the mail reaches the recipient, then they won't accept mail to that country. During COVID, the USA was on that list for a period, and Canada was on that list for a period, as was the UK. And that was a bit tricky for me as an international Etsy shop. Because the USA and Canada are my 2 biggest countries that I sell to, so that was sort of a bummer. But I actually got little money for that, because the Norwegian government issued funds to the local municipalities that they could then pay out to small businesses that had lost money due to COVID. And I actually got a bit of money. Not a lot, but I actually got a bit of money. I wasn't going to talk about COVID. Not sure why I started talking about that. I have one more whip to show you. I had no business casting on another whip, but I did. And the reason why I cast on this is because I knit a sweater for hubby in Viking Eco Highland wool, and I loved knitting with that yarn. I really, really loved knitting with that yarn, and I love the finished object, and it seems to hold up. It doesn't sag or anything, so I thought I should knit myself something in that yarn. It's a worsted. I'm not crazy about worsted because it's a bit warm, and now I realize I'm in the middle of a row. But what I cast on, this is Viking Eco Highland wool. I haven't got the ball band here, so I can't tell you the colorway number, but I think it's listed in Ravelry. And it's another Felix cardigan, because I'm wearing the one I have already a lot, and I really love it. So I decided to knit myself another Felix cardigan in a more summery color that goes with jeans. So I can so I have something to throw on if we're going to the shops late in the summer. If we go to the shops late in the evening or something, when it starts to get chilly, I have a nice cardigan to throw on. I'm actually debating whether I'm going to put buttons in this or not, because I realized that the Felix cardigan I do have, I never button it up. It's always hanging open. So I'm debating not doing buttons on this. I'm doing a button band, of course, but I don't think I'm going to put buttons in it. So that's the Felix by Amy Christoffers. And that's my second Felix cardigan. This is also being put aside now. It's been put aside because hubby gave me a gift card to the local yarn store because he meant that I needed some retail therapy. And I decided that I wanted to use that gift card for yarn for a thing I wanted to knit since it got released. I can't tell you a lot about this because it's a birthday present for a person who always watches this podcast. Hey, Trina. And her birthday is May 1st. So her birthday present will be a bit late this year, and I've already told Sue that her birthday present will be delayed because her birthday is in June. But I want to do the gift for Trina first. So I bought yarn for that, and I'm working on it. And hopefully it won't be too late because it's a real fun project, so I don't mind knitting a lot on it. And I'll take lots of pictures of it and I'll show it to you. I'll show the pictures to you as soon as she's got it, opened it, and seen it. So that's my most active whip. The Felix Cardigan was sort of something I cast on, and as soon as I bought the yarn for the thing I'm knitting on for Trina, it got put aside. So as soon as I get the pattern for the Stone Knits test knit today, I'll start those, and those two will be my whips until I finish the test knit, and then I will maybe pick up the Felix Cardigan again because I want it finished for summer. And that was my whips. That is my active whips. As usual, I have a ton of whips. I actually have a couple of whips that I can now start calling UFOs, that I'm not sure will ever get finished. One of them I think I might frog. I'm going to do a finish or frog soon. I might record it, I'm not sure, depending. I might record a finish or frog for Bente's bag of holding. Because I have a ton of whips, and some of them I know I'm going to frog. So if you're interested, I might do a finish or frog. But now we're getting to the life stuff. As I said, things have been a bit crazy. Both my boys were here for Easter. It was a lot of fun. It was so good having them here at the same time, both because those two doesn't meet a lot, because the youngest lived with his father, and the oldest moved to Tromsø 8 years ago. And that's something that happened only, not yesterday, but the day before, where he called me up and he said that he had something to tell me. And my first initial reaction was, uh-oh, what is it now? What he wanted to tell me was that he was moving back to STOKMARKNES. So I'm rather excited, of course, and very happy about the fact that he's moving back to STOKMARKNES. And I have a lot of work to do, because we have an 80 square meter apartment. He's been living here before, of course. He moved in here with me 2011 when we moved in with Tor or hubby. But he moved out in 2015, I think it was, and moved to Tromsø. And now he's moving back in. So I have to make space for him, if you know what I mean. It's of course only temporary. He's living here only until he gets a job and he gets a place to live. But that can take a few months, depending on how quickly he gets a job. So it can't be too temporary. I have to make proper space for him. We can't just stack his stuff in the living room until he gets his own place. So the spare bedroom that used to be his bedroom when he was living here is now Arctic Crafts storage. We have a bunk bed in there, so both boys can be here at the same time. And that bunk bed contains my undyed yarn and some stash yarn, personal stash. And I cleared everything out into our bedroom for Easter when they both were coming here. But now when Isak is coming back, that's my oldest son, by the way, his name is Isak, I have to find a more semi-permanent solution for the Arctic Crafts things, because we can't have it stacked in our bedroom for months, I think. But the main thing is clearing a space for him so it's ready for him coming here. And it's going to be early summer, so we haven't got a lot of time to plan this. But as I said, I'm so looking forward to him moving back to STOKMARKNES, because we're a tiny little family unit. Basically, it's me and him. Originally, no, hubby is a part of our family, and the cats. But the youngest has been living with his father since he was 10 years old. So it's been me and my oldest son. sort of one unit, and then hubby got invited in. And it feels so good having that little unit together again. And when he moves out, he'll still be local. He'll still be here in Stokmarknes. So now I'm babbling. I'm well aware. It's just because I'm so excited and I was looking forward to telling you this. Most of you couldn't care less. I'm well aware if my son is moving back or not, but to me it's a big deal. And those who have seen this before, you know that I'm waiting for clearance for my labor assessment allowance. I think that's what I figured it was called in English. That I'm going to have an income, even though I'm not making money selling yarn, because we needed the income, and because I have osteoarthritis both in my thumbs and my shoulders, and I have anxiety problems. I have off and on depression problems. I wouldn't function in a normal day job. And that's where this allowance comes in. It's sort of so you can have an income while they're trying to find you a job that you would function in. I'm hoping they will accept Arctic Crafts as my job so that I can keep on doing that. Because if they insist on me trying out different jobs, I just have to stop dyeing yarn, I think, because I can't do both. I tested that when I worked at the local yarn store, because I was trying it out there. I was working 2 days a week there, and I was supposed to dye yarn 2 days a week. I managed to dye yarn 1 day a week, but then I was exhausted. So that didn't work. I have to do either or. I can't do both of them. So I haven't ordered any undyed for a bit because I don't want to risk sitting with a lot of undyed yarn if I have to stop dyeing yarn. But I hope I don't have to. But one thing I have decided is that I won't be able to do both Halloween and Christmas advents. Because that really exhausted me last year, doing both of them. I might not even do any of them. I might only do sock sets or special colorways or stuff. But if I manage to do one of them, which one do you think I should do? Should I do the 13 days of Halloween or should I do the 12 days of Christmas? I have to decide rather soon because I have to order the yarn for it and I have to dye it up. But my son is moving here during the summer, so it might get really hectic. I have to take that into account. But if I manage to do one of them, which one do you think I should do? 13 days of Halloween or 12 days of Christmas? Could you please tell me down below? Because I'm not sure I'll be able to do any of them this year because it's going to be a bit hectic during the summer with my son moving in and everything. But it won't be a problem. That's just it, because those were good earnings for me, even though they were reasonably priced. I made some money doing those. But if I have a steady income, I don't have to kill myself to try to make some money. I can start dyeing yarn because it's fun again. Because I've been scrambling to make a living doing this ever since I started. And it's never panned out. I've never started making money. I told myself when I started doing this, I gave myself 3 years. If I don't make money in 3 years, I'll stop and do something else. Thing is, my health problems escalated during those 3 years. So when it came to it, I wasn't able to do anything else, if you know what I mean. I was fiddling with my pinky and I remembered that I got a care package from Sue. And most of it didn't actually have anything to do with knitting. It was a pair of needle stoppers, Starbucks needle stoppers. I'll show you those when I have them on a project, because I didn't take anything with me to show you, because everything is in its place. I'm trying to do that instead of, I'm only putting yarn that I get in the mail in a box for the podcast. Anything else I just put in its place. So it was stickers, it was needle stoppers, Starbucks needle stoppers. There were some, oh my god, I can't remember. I'll put in a picture. I took a picture for Instagram. I'll put in the picture so you can see what was in the package. But one thing I put on my finger as soon as I got it, I sort of got a bit teary-eyed. I'm not sure you can read what it says. If I put it up on near the camera, can you see what it says? It says, I am enough. And that's my reminder. I try to make it bigger so I can wear it on my middle finger, but the material is so hard, or not sure what you would call it. It's really difficult to make it bigger, so that's why I'm wearing it on my pinky. It's a bit big for my pinky, but I try to make it as narrow as possible. But I'm taking it off before I go to bed because I don't want it to slip off. But it says, I am enough. And so that's my daily reminder. I'll just look down on that ring. And I have this from Isak. That is my fidget. You have the fidget spinners. This is kind of my fidget thing. I play with this when I'm anxious. So, as usual, I've been talking a lot about other stuff than knitting or yarn. You're used to that by now, I hope. This is, after all, the epilogue lady. And since I didn't show you any of my hand-dyed yarn, you'll probably understand that there won't be a shop update on Sunday, because I've been through a few weeks where I haven't been feeling good. But because of the news I got this Wednesday that my son is moving back to STOKMARKNES, I got a new... I sort of got the inspiration to actually dye some yarn. So I'm going to start dyeing yarn, and I'll try to do maybe 2 dye days next week and maybe 2 or 3 dye days the week after that. So next update Sunday in 2 weeks, there will be a shop update. And I'll just think about what I'm going to dye up. I think I might dye up some Spring Symphony mini sets if I have enough minis. I won't be dyeing up any self-striping this spring. I dyed up self-striping crocus last year, but I've got a limited amount of the skeins I use for self-striping in stock undyed. And if I make them myself, it's going to be hours of prep time, and there's a lot of really talented people selling self-striping. So I'm okay with the fact that I only do self-striping every now and then. So I might not do any self-striping until the fall and do my fall symphony self-striping, because that was a really good seller. I might do strawberry pavlova during the summer. We'll see what I get up to. But I'm not sure what colorways to do next week or the week after, but I'm going to sit down and plan that. I might make a new colorway and call it Homecoming or something. Not sure. But I'm going to have fun with it next week. And if that results in a new colorway or 2, so be it. There's not a sale going anymore, but as usual, feel free to order sweater quantities, because when I get a custom order, I just drop everything and do that custom order. So I have a really short turnaround time on those. Normally it takes about a week from I get the order until it ships, and not a lot longer than that. So feel free to contact me if you see something in the shop that you really like, that you would like a sweater quantity of. Contact me and we'll do a deal on that. So that's that. And I have to stop talking now because my mouth is really dry. The coffee doesn't help. And I have to get started on editing this, so hubby can pick me up and we can go shopping. And it's really sunny and it's really warm in here, and I really need to put the air conditioning on. And I need to put and take down the fairy lights outside, and I'm actually going to change my curtains today. I'm going to put up my summer curtains. I normally do that around this time every year, either right before or right after Easter. And it's so tempting to put them up now because the weather is so nice. So I'm going to do that. I might actually do that before hubby gets home, so he can have that surprise. And now I can tell. Do you have some same problem when the sun starts shining through your windows in spring? You realize that, oh my God, those windows are really, really dirty. They look horrible. So I might have to do that. And that's going to show much better when I hang up lighter curtains. But anyways, maybe that's what I'm going to do today. Either before hubby gets here or after. But anyways, I'll see you in 2 weeks for another podcast. I might do a finish or frog for the other channel. Before then, not the other channel, the other playlist. I only have the one channel, but I have a playlist called Bente's Bag of Holding for stuff that's not necessarily knitting related. A frog or finish thing would be knitting related, of course. So I could put that in this playlist. But this is sort of only podcast. So that's something I'm going to do. If I find the time. It would be instead of a die day. So I'll stop looking at the clock and just finish this and turn the air conditioning back up because it's getting really hot in here. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Until then, I hope you have a really nice time, that you get a lot of knitting done. If that's your thing, or crochet, do what you want to do. You do you. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.